Today we're going to shift and we're going to be orienting towards what I call the unmanifest absolute. This is a little more primordial than the manifest. It's characterized color-wise with a rich, luminous blackness. So a shiny, deep, rich blackness. And in that blackness, the main quality we encounter is absence. Absence is the counterpart to presence. In traditional Buddhism, absence would be referred to as emptiness. I try to avoid using the word emptiness because it's also used to refer to people and their feeling of isolation and disconnection. They feel empty. So I tend to use the word absence because to me it's like that bookcase example I gave yesterday. We remove the book from the one spot. We look and we see the space where it goes. We can say it's absent. There's an absence, and yet there's a something there. There's an energetic something, a presence that's there too. And that's how it feels when we make contact with the absence quality. Is there's nothing, a profound, far-reaching nothingness. And at the same time, it's not nothing. There's a substantiality, a something, a potency to it as well. Among the qualities we encounter with absence is a quality of peace. And again, these are non-conceptual qualities. So this isn't peace in comparison to war or comparison to activity. This is a primordial peace, an underlying foundational peace. And along with the peace is stillness. Stillness is not, again, it's not a conceptual stillness that's not in contrast to noise, to activity, to speaking. This is stillness that exists even while I'm speaking in this moment. We can perceive the profound stillness that's here too. So it's a stillness that's always present. And in the practice with the unmanifest, one of the potentials is if we journey what feels like deep enough into the absence, really taking in and opening to the peace and stillness, we can find awareness and consciousness are approaching the portal of cessation. Cessation is nibbana. It is nirvana. It is the cessation, the ceasing of all materiality. Everything material is out, is gone. It ceases all mentality. So any form of awareness, any form of reflection, any form of consciousness stops. So it's a lights out experience. We can notice that we're beginning to get close. One of the things that begins to get affected is language. So you'll find if there are thoughts, they're probably sparse as you're deepening contact with peace and stillness. And at some point, it feels like there's longer and longer gaps between a thought. And the thoughts become very, very wispy, like clouds just lazily crossing the sky. And as we move deeper into the portal of cessation, our consciousness begins to shut off. And I use the word consciousness to mean awareness with historical reference. So my life reference is contained in my consciousness. So consciousness ceases, it stops. And then there's just pure awareness, awareness by direct contact and direct knowing. And that begins to dial down, and eventually that turns off. It ceases. Cessation is like a dreamless sleep. It's black. We have no sense of awareness. We have no sense of consciousness or me. We have no sense of anything. Everything is off. We only know that cessation has taken place afterwards, when there's a reawakening, when there's a coming back online of awareness and consciousness. If the cessation is sustained enough, as a contrast, if someone were to have a 1 or a 5 minute cessation experience, it would be significant to them, but it probably wouldn't be very transformative. If someone has a 30-minute or more experience, it seems to be a sufficient time for there to be changes. So when we reawaken after cessation, there's a felt sense of something very significant just happened, and things are different. Things have been reorganized in my inner sense. And so there begins a process of unpacking what exactly has changed. We do that by watching our behavior and our reactivity to events in our life. And in the Theravadan Buddhist model of awakening, there are 4 stages: stream entry, once returner, non-returner, and arahant. For each of those stages, one must experience cessation. The cessation must be significant enough to affect the personality, the sense of self, and the way that we hold things like greed, anger, rejection, hatred, and also our sense of self. So all of those can be impacted by experiences of cessation.